We hear all the buzzwords, right? AI, machine learning, big data, but what's the actual secret sauce? What turns that chaotic mess of digital information into a truly brilliant insight? Well, it's a hidden, absolutely crucial step. So today, let's pull back the curtain on the unseen work of data wrangling. So really, how does it happen? How do you take this jumble of raw, messy, totally disorganized information and actually forge it into something powerful? Something that can predict trends, drive huge decisions, and even change entire industries? That's the big question we're going to tackle.
And here's the thing. The secret isn't some super complex, magical algorithm. It's actually way more fundamental. Think of it like the bedrock of a building. It is all about creating a solid, reliable foundation.
So, here is our game plan for today. First, we're going to define what data wrangling actually is. Then, we'll dive into this awesome analogy, the skyscraper foundation, to see why it's so important. After that, we'll break down the 6 essential steps, and finally, we'll look at the common challenges you're bound to run into.
Okay, let's get right into it. What exactly is this foundational process we're talking about?
I like to think of it like a chef's prep work before cooking a big, fancy meal. Data wrangling is taking all those raw ingredients, your data, and transforming them. You're cleaning, organizing, and restructuring everything so it's perfectly ready for the main course, which is, of course, the analysis.
And hey, you might hear a few different names for it. Data wrangling, data munging, data cleaning. And while there can be some subtle differences, they're all pointing to the same critical idea: getting your data in order.
And let's be really clear, this is not just about being tidy for the sake of it. The real goal here is to get much, much better outcomes. With data that's been properly wrangled, you can analyze complex stuff way faster, you get more accurate results, you draw smarter conclusions, and ultimately you can make confident, decisive moves. To really drive home just how critical this is, let's use a really powerful analogy: building a skyscraper. I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Just like a skyscraper's foundation, data wrangling can feel slow and, yeah, it can be expensive. It's all that hidden work nobody sees. But without it, your entire structure, your analysis, your predictions, is basically built on shaky ground. And, well, it's going to collapse.
And this right here shows you the stakes. If you skip this step, you're not just risking a tiny error. No, you are looking at flawed models, completely missed opportunities, and even a seriously damaged reputation when your bad analysis leads you astray. But with that solid foundation, you get accuracy, you get reliability, and you get decisions you can actually stand behind.
Okay, so let's move away from the analogy for a minute and talk about the real-world benefits. What do you actually get from building that solid data foundation? Well, for starters, data wrangling makes raw data actually usable and ensures quality right from the get-go. It lets you pull in information from all these different, disconnected places and bring them together. And this is huge. It removes all the noise, the inaccurate bits, the incomplete stuff, the totally irrelevant data. It is the absolutely essential first step before you can even think about doing any kind of data mining or advanced analytics. All right, so we get what it is and why it's so important. But how do you actually do it? Let's take a look at the blueprint for building this foundation. It's really a 6-step journey. First, you discover. You have to get your arms around the data and understand what you're even working with. Then you structure it, getting it into a usable format. Next comes cleaning, which is where you fix all the errors and inconsistencies. After that, you can enrich the data, maybe by bringing in other sources to add context. Then you validate it, checking for quality and consistency. And finally, you publish that clean, beautiful dataset for everyone to use. And here's the key takeaway from all that. This isn't just a one-time fix. The whole point of this 6-step process is to create a reusable asset. You're building a standardized, consistent, reliable data format that's going to pay dividends every single time you use it. Now, of course, just like building a real foundation for a skyscraper, this whole process isn't without its obstacles. So let's talk about some of the common challenges that data pros run into all the time. First up, there's scalability. I mean, how do you handle these ever-growing mountains of data without things grinding to a halt? Then there's unstructured data, things like text from emails or social media posts that don't fit into neat little rows and columns. You've also got evolving data sources that are constantly changing on you. And of course, overarching all of this are massive privacy and security concerns, which have to be baked in from the very, very beginning. So to bring this all home, just remember this. Every single amazing dashboard, every predictive model, every mind-blowing piece of AI that you see, it's all standing on a foundation, an invisible, time-consuming, but absolutely essential foundation of expertly wrangled data. So the next time you see one of those brilliant, game-changing insights, just take a second. Will you think about the immense, unseen work, the wrangling, the cleaning, the structuring that made that whole thing possible? Because that's where the real work and, you know what, the real magic truly happens.